Hey you guys, welcome back. We are in Vero Beach again and we are in a backyard landscape buffer planting. So I cannot wait to do this tour for you. I think you're really gonna like it. It has some of my favorite plants, my tried and true tough Vero Beach, Space Coast, Treasure Coast type of plant material that I love to use. So I'm gonna share with you and walk through the garden, all of the plant and tree choices that I chose for the area, and I hope that you like them. But yeah, so let's walk through. Bryce, why don't we get a good kind of panoramic view of the backyard so we can see what we're looking at, or our friends can see what we're looking at. And so what we found when we first got here was a new construction of a beautiful backdrop pool planting. So this is what I would call a typical backyard size in Vero Beach. And my client's Dee, she was able to really play with the pool design. I love what they did. I think this clean line serene pool turned out absolutely beautiful. The only negative to it is that it's your typical Florida pool. You know, it's that bright travertine with bright fencing and just a lot of light tiles. And so when you look back here, it almost blinded you. So I love that we were able to really soften that with some tropical landscapes. So this project was done last week, and then all of this week we've had thunderstorms. So you guys will have to just bear with the damage that's been done to these poor plants right after planting, but they will bounce back. They're tough. That's why I wanted to share it with you, because they are some of my tried and true tough plants, and they're going to just really take over and do so well in this landscape. So I thought, let me share this with you guys, and maybe this is something you can incorporate into your own yard. So, but sorry, I don't mean to be rude. Let me start by introducing myself for those of you guys who don't know who I am. My name is Jennifer Bevins, and I'm a landscape designer here in Vero Beach, Florida. This is one of the backyard landscapes that me and my crew have completed. So we specialize in this kind of work. So if you're looking for something like this along the lines of a tropical layered landscape, this is kind of your vibe, then give me a call, because I would love to meet with you, kind of walk through your garden and see if this is something that we can do in your own space. So. But now for the tour. Let's walk and talk plants, and I'll share with you what we did here. So let's kind of start here, Bryce, at the very corner. So again, you guys, I feel like I should put a disclaimer in, because the weather has been awful, but that's what these plants are made for. They're made to combat it, so they're going to do that just fine. So as usual, I'm going to start in with the rear planting. This rear planting back here are these beautiful Brazilian red cloaks. So in this particular lot, this corner dropped down, this level dropped down so severely that you could absolutely see it from the house line. So what I wanted to do is bring in something that was really going to kind of give us a big, thick grouping, and these will connect within a matter of months. They'll connect and they'll become 4 foot taller. So this area will be completely this color and green all the way through the corner, and they'll make the perfect backdrop for a low corner. So they love water, they love a little bit of wet feet, hence why I put them in low spots. So this nice low spot where the water collects will do a fantastic job of making these plants healthy and happy. And the only negative to these plants that I've ever noticed is the bottom 2 feet, as they mature and become bigger, become like this. You know, they become a little bit woody. So you'll see the trunks, and all the beauty will be at the top of the plant. So I really try to do my best in disguising those trunks by kind of creating what I call a skirt. So this is a skirt planting. This is considered a grouped planting that will eventually completely cover the base. Now all this open mulch that you see here will absolutely disappear in a matter of months. So this planting will connect to this planting, and so on. So each species will connect to each species. And then you'll notice I do a break, and then that species will connect to that species, and then a break. And that's kind of the premise of my type of design. I want to make sure that I keep it nice and low maintenance, but also keep it tropical and layered. And I really think this is going to do the trick. I can't wait to share this with you once everything grows in and becomes gorgeous. So those to the back are Brazilian red cloaks. These in front of them, sweeping as a kind of a nice little apron in front of them, are double peach hibiscus. And you're going to keep these about 4 to 5 feet, these 6 to 10 feet in the back. So you can already see we have approximately a 10-foot layer, a 5-foot layer, and then it drops down to a 4-foot layer with these dwarf firebush. Now these dwarf firebush bloom this, I think a lot of people call it like a honeysuckle bloom, but they are a native to Florida, and they're called a dwarf firebush, and they bloom this bloom 11 months out of the year. So you almost always get this color. I mean, we're in fall now, heavy fall, and then we're still getting crazy blooms. So they bloom so often, and they're just a nice medium kind of clustering plant. So they're going to do their job of doing clustering this whole corner right here, where you will not see this mulch in between. But when we've got a little bit of crazy, I like to kind of start paring that down with something real controlled. So right down here, I have dwarf collusia. These are a very cool, shiny, cool little leafed plants, and they're going to want to connect to one another as kind of almost like a really tidy, formal, kind of boxwood looking hedge. And I know that a lot of people have a hard time thinking of boxwood with tropical, but boxwood does a fantastic job of making tropical look tropical. So if you can kind of create a clean line, and then you can use the backing with big leafed kind of textured material, then you have such a fantastic mix. And you can do that in such a small space. You don't need acres. You don't even need 40 or 30 feet. You can use something along the lines of what we have here, which is approximately 9 to 10 foot of space, and create multiple layers within that space. So, you know, definitely do that. Anytime you get near a sidewalk, I love the idea of creating a very polished look. That way, it allows me to get a little crazy and fun with the rear of the planting. So in this case, we've got the collusia. The collusia run almost the total distance along the walkway. You'll see they pick up further back down there, which really do a nice job. There's a little bit of a separate grouping of Sanchesia in the middle, just to give us a little bit of fun behind the jacuzzi area. But back to this spot here, we have the collusia, and then we have these foxtail ferns, which you guys, you cannot get any different than these leaves versus these leaves. I mean, they're so different. They're so fun. And when they mature out together, you've got polish against, I don't know, crazy fuzzy. I don't know what you would call these, but they're just, I don't know, they're upright and they're so fun, and they just play so well together. So I love incorporating them into a bed. So they're gonna max out about 2.5 to 3 foot tall and no bigger than that. They're really gonna keep a nice compact height to them. And then these guys to the front are gonna max out at 2 foot tall. So you've always got a nice defined border. To the back, and you don't need many of these. Now, this is a very shallow back bed. So what I used here is the dwarf alocasias, or dwarf elephant ear, and they do a very nice job of kind of filling in behind a palm tree, or when I'm trying to camouflage a fence. They do a great job of that. And I don't want to completely ignore the traveler's palm, but unfortunately this poor guy has been beat up from the wind. These young traveler's palms, we put it in last week, and then the wind came all this week. So it's going to be beat up, but it will stand up firm, beautiful, and be gorgeous once it roots in. And then if you've not been a stranger at all to my channel, you know that I love pygmy date palms. Yes, I know they have a thorn here and there for trimming, but I can't think of a tree that does a better job of really giving you a big clustering of fronds. Now, do you need to trim these? Absolutely. I trim mine once a year, but they are the perfect level 2 trees. These trees right here will give you more frond than they'll ever give you trunk, which is so rare in a Florida landscape that I think they're worth it. So as this tree matures, it'll mature into a 10 to 12 foot height. And then once it's 10 to 12 foot, you're looking at maybe a 3 to 4 foot of that wood trunk. And when you're at a 3 to 4 foot wood trunk, you're really getting a very heavy frond canopy with that. So if you put plant material underneath that's going to get 3 foot tall, then you go right from that color of that plant material right to almost the first frond, and then you get frond cover. And that you guys is where the layers come into play. That's where you start seeing those steps in a garden, and it's easy to maintain that way because you know that you've picked the proper plant for the proper tree. So these Sanchesia will be gorgeous at 3 to 4 foot tall, and they'll fill in, and there'll be one solid grouping. You see we've got just kind of a sweep of these right through this area, and they'll do such a nice job when they're this tall and they're solid in this area, because you will not see a trunk on that. It'll go from that beautiful coloring all the way up to the canopies and the thickness. And what makes What that ends up looking like is the white fence disappears. All you really see is layer upon layer upon layer when you're looking to this backdrop of this pool area. And to me, that's what makes a resort style kind of garden. And I cannot wait for that to happen for my clients. So it's kind of a rinse and repeat. You kind of see this whole thing happen with, I've got pygmy date palms that kind of circle our centerpiece tree, which is the triangle fan palm, which I use every chance that I get. I just think they're gorgeous. I love the variation in this leaf color. I love the silver tones that they offer. I really do think that they're so universal because you can put them where the flat side's facing forward, or you can put them just like this where the tail is facing you. So the triangle fan palm is called the triangle fan palm because it has 3 flat sides. This flat side here, on each area you'll see it's called Madagascar fir, and I just love the look of it. I think it works so well in what I would say is pretty much a green garden. This silver coloring with that that fur of that dark burgundy, I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So they do such a nice job of that. It might be hard to see because it's such a new planting, but Bryce, if you're able to get back there where those Brazilian red cloaks are, so those are young Brazilian red cloaks. Those, of course, will do the same as the ones on the corner, max out above the fence line and give you that beautiful pink bloom that they offer. I absolutely love them. They'll do such a nice job of that. And I may have forgotten to mention the coconut palms. And you guys from Florida know coconut palms. They're a part of a landscape back here. And if you have room for them in a pool landscape and can set them off back from a pool area, they're such fantastic trees to work with. They grow fast. They offer you big canopy spreads. And whatever's behind them will pretty much disappear. So we've got a big roof line back there, and we really wanted this area to really take off with coverage, just like you see that it's starting to do here. So now keep in mind, these trees down here, these pygmy date palms, will grow and take the spot of what these trees do. So as these trees become 30 foot tall, which absolutely they are capable of doing, this tree at that point will be 12 foot tall, and most of that 12 foot height will be frond canopies. So you almost always have a permanent buffer. So when people say palms are only good for so long, not the case. Palms are meant to layer. You use your dwarf layers, and then you layer up from there, and then you put your beautiful big tree material that grows fast, you put that in the back, and then you let it, you really get the benefits of both worlds. You get immediate coverage, and then you use that smaller material, so as things grow up, everything's growing up to give you future coverage. And that's just kind of the way a tropical landscape works. So I cannot wait for Dee and her husband to really see this. I can see that this is going to be a backyard they're going to enjoy and entertain in, and why not? It's just going to be such a fun place to be. So I cannot wait to get an updated video on this. It's just going to be gorgeous to see it come to life. So let me just finish this one little section off. To the side here, this is a King Alexander palm. And this poor guy's been beat up this week, but he will persevere, just like we have with this weather this week. And he is a lot of clear trunk on this tree. They have a beautiful canopy to the top, but they're pretty much nothing but a slender trunk at the bottom. Now, this is a self-cleaning tree. You see how this limb is getting ready to fall on it. Now, I can pull this limb if I wanted to, but it will also drop off, so that way it'll self-clean by itself, which nobody like myself loves a self-cleaning tree. I don't know, maybe you guys love it too, but I absolutely love a self-cleaning tree. King Alexanders do that for you, and they're an easy tree to deal with, and they offer so much punch at the end of a planting bed. Considering that we have so much clearance of trunk, that left us with being able to go really big on the plant material down below. Now, you're probably wondering that these are not big. I know these are not big, but these guys grow so fast. So we'll blink, and tomorrow they'll be this tall. So these guys round out. These are dwarf firebush. They round out and become this height in no time. So this will be a nice 4.5, 5 foot border here, and it's going to happen on the opposite side where the other King Alexander is too. And they do such a nice job of just kind of completely grouping around. Hummingbirds love them. Butterflies love them, birds love them. I think everybody loves them. They're such a great plant, and they're just a fantastic plant grouping. The only people that I've seen that do not love these plants is when they put them next to another plant and expect them to behave. So this is a plant grouping that needs to be within this plant grouping, and it'll do so well. So because you can really keep this a nice tight grouping in this bed, and then you're going to separate it from this plant grouping when you do your trimming, and that's it. It's just as easy as that. So they're definitely worth having, and they're definitely so easy to have. So I definitely think that if you guys have the opportunity to use a native plant like a dwarf firebush, use it, because they're phenomenal, and it just all of your nature will appreciate and approve of that type of planting. So but yeah, so this is a backyard tropical landscape buffer, and I know we kind of ran through it, but I really wanted to share it with you as soon as we finish, so that way you guys had a really good idea of what things look like when they're initially planted. They're not jam-packed full, but they are thought out. So as long as you think about those layers and those tiers, then I'm telling you, you're really going to create that tropical oasis for your own backyard, and that's what I did in my own backyard. So I'm hoping that that carries over. If you guys are really interested in how to kind of create a tiered landscape for yourself, or you're looking to kind of redo your front yard landscape and your DIYers, then check out my latest video, because that video really shows kind of the steps, the recipe that I use when I create all of my designs. It really kind of, I think it kind of breaks it down, and so it's something that I'm so happy to share it with you guys, and I hope it helps. So if you do that, please post some pictures. I would love to see them, and let me know how you guys like it. But for this video, I hope you guys liked it, and I will see you in the next project tour that we do. And yeah, I hope you liked it. Take care.